It feels like there's something that we missed here in this little conversation, Pat, and I'm going to push you on it. What happened with number 35? Why did that one take off? Was it your intro? Was it the algo that finally caught up with you? Did you say something different? Have you been able to figure that one out yet?
I haven't. I didn't say anything.
With Short Pocket Monster, it seems like you've really dialed that in, and it sounds like there was a bit of a process for you to figure out that formula, right? Especially the hook, should I open it? Should I keep it sealed? What was the thinking process there? How did you figure out the audience? How did you get to that idea, if you can share that with us?
Let's talk about how it started. This is something I actually talk about in Lean Learning. It's this idea of if you're going to attempt to do something like this, like for example, I wanted to do shorts because I had never done it before, and I never really gave it a shot. I had dabbled, but I knew that in order for things to actually pay off in one way or another, you got to give it some time. And I said, I'm going to do this for 60 days. There were a few rules. Number one, I wasn't going to get any help. It was going to be all me. And number two, I wasn't going to link to it from anything else that I already had. Even though it could have been very easy to just tag this on top of my long form channel, I wanted to silo it so I could experiment and see if the algorithm could pick it up and find the right audience. And it did, but it didn't do that right away. In fact, the Should I Open It series wasn't my first attempt at creating these videos. My videos started in late June, and I was just trying a few things. It took about 10 or so days before I landed on the Should I Open It sort of jingle that then I was like, oh, this is cool. I can try this daily. And then I tried it a few days. People responded to it, so I just kept going with it. And here I am 301 days later. But, excuse me. Some of the first videos I went to like Barnes & Noble and I found some packs and I opened it in the car. I had a theory like, okay, maybe if I am such a degenerate that I can't even wait home to open these packs, but I open them in the car, that could be my thing. Like I can open them in the car. Okay. And I did that and it was like, nobody mentioned the car and it wasn't that relatable. And it kind of was, but it just didn't hit. And it didn't hit for me. I tried some other things where I kind of talked about the history of the cars and nobody really responded to that. I was like, okay, I'm not going to talk about that. But again, I went to a store and I had a friend of mine pull out something from behind the counter, and then I paused, and then I had the jingle pop up. Should I while the thing was like large on the screen, and I was like, "Ooh, that's cool!" Because now, for the first time, I've really leaned into, pun intended, the open-ended question, like what's in here, and is it worth it if I were to open it or not? And now you have to stick around to find the answer. And that really took off, but not right away again, because I hypothesized that it was going to take some time. So once I found that series idea of should I open it, I was like, okay, I need to give this a shot. I'm going to do this for 60 days. And that's something I talk about in the book. If you're going to attempt to do something or really try to hone in your skills or speed run your skill acquisition, give it a certain period of time. It's different for different things, but I wanted to give myself 60 days, one video every day. And whether or not I get a lot of views out of this thing or not, if I get to day 60 and I've gone daily, I will call it a win.
Okay.
It is not.
I want to point something out there, which is a bit of meta stuff. You mentioned the process you went through. So you went to the shop, you tried a few different things, but eventually got to this: should I open it or should I keep it sealed? And the effect, the outcome of that thing that you did there, the hook, was to get people to lean in, right? So that's like a leaning in. So would it be fair to say that if we were to meta-analyze that and say, what's behind that? What causes the lean in? What would you say that is? Is it purely just creating curiosity, or is there something else as well?
There's two things happening here, and especially with the Pokemon packs, right? There's value in the cards that are being opened. And there is an idea of me spending X number of dollars and at the end potentially losing money. That's inherently interesting, right? It's a very voyeuristic sort of situation, right? Oh, is Pat going to lose money? And there's something in that. But that combined with just what we call gap theory, or the idea that people hate leaving answers blank or unfinished, that psychological pull just draws people in no matter what it is. Like how awkward is that pause because I didn't finish, right? It's just so weird. So we have this draw to finish things, and so you can open things, and as long as you hopefully close them on the other end in one way or another, you take these open loops that you create in your videos, which is a very, very powerful storytelling technique, especially in long form, creating an open loop and then coming back to it later. It's used in movies, it's used in books. should be used on YouTube channels. As long as you close them, then you fulfill that promise. And depending on how you get there, it could be a huge climactic moment, or it can be a huge emotional moment if you do it right. And you can really draw in repeat viewers and really a deep connection with your audience in that way.
So is this what you mean when you say lean, like lean learning in the sense, but that you mentioned there's two kinds of leans here, right? But this particular lean is about leaning in, right? And so that's really what you're talking about here. It's like whatever you're doing is getting people to lean in and start sitting at the edge of their seat to want to close that loop.
Yeah, if you're a creator, absolutely. That's what you want people to do. It's literally sitting at the edge of their seat as if they are getting closer and closer to you, right? That's actually what's happening. They lean in and kind of put their ear to the speaker to hear what you're going to say next. That's the visualization you should have in certain moments of your video. And in a more meta kind of way, what am I doing here? I'm leaning into storytelling. I'm going deep and learning about it. I'm with my team literally reading books about screenplays and movies and writing sitcoms and all the ins and outs of videos like this. Like if there's one book to recommend in this world, it would be Save the Cat. I don't know if you've ever heard of that book, but it's a screenwriting
someone
book.
recommended it to me many years ago now. It's in my cupboard, my bookshelf, but I haven't read it. I better read it.
It's wonderful. It's made up of a ton of different strategies. The Save the Cat is just the name of one of those strategies, but it's a compendium of different ideas for storytelling that help a viewer stick around more. And so the Save the Cat idea is this idea of, like, if you've ever seen a movie and the protagonist in the beginning, like really early on, the first thing they do is they like save a cat from a tree. Well, then immediately the viewer has an emotional connection to them because they're a good-hearted person. They've gone out of their way to save somebody. So when they go through a tough time, you feel it more because you are more inclined to want them to win, right? It hurts more when it hurts them because they once saved, quote unquote, saved the cat. So my version of that in my long form Pocket Monster channel is me often at the beginning of these challenges that I do, where I try to complete a set within a certain period of time, or I'm doing trade challenges or whatever. I do a very lopsided trade to a young kid who might not have a very valuable card, but I do, and he wants mine, and I do the trade anyway. It has people go, oh my gosh, Pat totally lost out on that trade, but look how kind he is. And I'd love to do that anyway, but capturing that is important for the story, because then as I go through trials and tribulations in my challenge and I try to slay dragons, if you will, in that hero's journey, the dragons become that much bigger when the dragon breathes fire on me, like the audience feels it too, because they want me to win, or they're rooting for me, if you will.
Awesome. Okay, so that's kind of like the intro, the hook of the video. And so it sounds like there's quite a process for you to get there. It wasn't just like something it wasn't just luck. There was actually a process. You actually leaned into learning about what the best way is to do that. And not necessarily just during that time, but it's probably been a bit of a lifetime journey as well. It's like all that previous information you've learned, but also then specifically having that specific detailed knowledge to help you come up with that in the end, got you there to come up with that little jingle, right?
But I didn't succeed at first when I started to do it, right? To continue the story. Day 25 came around of my 60-day challenge, and I noticed the views were anywhere between 200 to 500 views per video, which in the grand scheme of things wasn't a lot. One of the videos hit 1,000, but like if it was younger me, I would have just given up already. I was okay, I've tried this for 3 weeks and some change, and it's just not going anywhere. Let me try something else. But no, 60 days was the goal. As my buddy Alex Hodges says, count uploads, not likes. So I was counting uploads. I wasn't even halfway there yet, so I kept going. Day 30 came around. Still 300 to 500 views. Nothing really big happening. Day 35, one of those videos, which incorporated a lot of things that I learned from the other ones. By the way, day 30, before I get into the big climactic moment, despite not having a ton of views yet, I was still seeing major wins. My editing time, because again, I was doing this myself daily, went from 45 minutes in the beginning to 15 minutes by the end of day 30. So even if I didn't get a ton more views, I gained that much more skill in my editing process and what I was learning and the shortcuts on the keyboard and all this stuff. I was a speed demon on ScreenFlow, which I'm still using for editing these videos,
real?
These short form videos.
That's cool.
Day 35 comes around though. And after 35 pieces of data that I've gotten, after getting really good at editing and telling story on these things, that video that I published on day 35 hit 750,000 views.
Wow.
And
so before this, you were only getting like 300 to maybe 1,000 video views
Correct.
max. Is that right?
Correct.
And the reason I want to point this out is because that's where most people are stuck. They even have a name for this, right? They call it what, 500 view hell or 500 view jail or something like that, right? Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So video 30, you're still getting those sort of views, well, up to 34. Is that right? And then 35 is the one that goes
blew up.
nuts.
I remember
35.
it was people ask me like, how did you do that? And for a while I was just like, I don't know, it just happened. And in many cases, when you're in YouTube land, sometimes you just got to keep publishing till stuff happens. I mean, I interviewed MKBHD a while back, and he said his first 100 videos, these are long form videos, were for less than 100 subscribers. So that just tells you like how dedicated you kind of sometimes have to be. And he just posted today that he crossed 20 million subscribers, which is wild.
Wow.
But in looking back at that particular video, there were a few things working in its favor. Number one, it started out in a way that some of my other higher viewed videos did, like the 1,000 ones, where I bought the thing in a store. So that was number one. I purchased the thing in a store, and I there was context to me purchasing this thing. So some of the videos that I did that didn't do very well were just me starting with the pack in my home office. This one was like out in the wild, so there was something intriguing about that, and so I incorporated that into this newer video. Another thing that worked in previous videos was whenever there was a sticker on the pack, like a bright orange sticker or a green neon sticker with a price on it, those videos tended to do a little better than the other ones. And it was probably because, number one, maybe the thumbnail, cool, but it was also just different. Like it just stood out so quickly, and it reinforced the sort of price of the pack in the beginning without even having to me say anything, right? People, before I even said the price, could see it. It's right there.
So this is just a little sticker that made a difference that you could tell from the stats.
Correct. That was the pattern after 34 videos that I saw, was just, hey, that's interesting. And again, that's the beauty of YouTube, is it gives you a lot of data. It doesn't write for you. It doesn't say, oh, these ones had stickers, so do more stickers. You kind of have to look at your patterns and analyze that. And that's what I figured out.
But this was before number 35, the big one.
Okay. Correct. Again, I was getting this data and trying my best to learn from all the data that was coming in and not giving up. And if I got to day 60 and I didn't get these tons of views, I would have wished that I did, but I would have felt good about myself for finishing the experiment, and then I could move on to something else. But day 35 came around, that blew up. All the other videos started to blow up after that. And now I'm at a point, so I repurposed these videos as well on TikTok and Instagram, and they're also on YouTube. 301 days in now of the Should I Open It series. We are about to cross 2.5 billion views with a B. It is generating 5 figures in income with AdSense and TikTok combined on its own, just the shorts. And I've been invited to so many new things, and I got invited to the Detroit Lions National Football League, American football stadium, to open packs with their team. I got invited by some soccer teams, and I've gotten to meet some UFC fighters and basketball players who also open packs, who reached out to me, who want to do collabs. And it's just like, this thing blew up, and it's crazy. And now people are using the jingle and not just copying. I mean, there's a lot of copiers who literally rip the videos off, but there's people who create their own version of it, right? There's people who are opening packs of seaweed, pretending they're like valuable using my song. There was a DJ who used the song in front of 15,000 people at a rave. There was a person who worked at a mortuary pointing at a casket saying, should I open it or should I keep it sealed? That's how viral this thing has become. And it's been a wild ride.
Okay, but it feels like there's something that we missed here in this little conversation, Pat, and I'm going to push you on it. What happened with number 35? Why did that one take off? Was it the sticker? Was it your intro? Was it the algo that finally caught up with you? Did you say something different? Have you been able to figure that one out yet?
I haven't. I didn't say anything significantly different. I didn't change the framework compared to the other videos. It just happened. It just happened because I gave myself enough chances for something to happen. And I still find the pattern to be same after 301 videos. I'm still experimenting. I'm still learning. If I had the perfect formula, every video would have, you know, millions of views. I mean, the plateaus have increased now. My baseline on my videos is about 1 million views in 24 hours per video. And now my version of day 35 that happened recently was, I think, day 250 or something like that. One of the videos hit 35 million views, which is more video views than I had in all of my entrepreneurial channel in its lifetime.
Crazy.
And again, it used those same things to open in a store, and it had a sticker price on the but there wasn't anything like super significantly different about that. The algorithm just seemed to like it better. And that's the crazy thing about this. Sometimes I literally don't know the answer, but what I do know is that the more casts I put out there, when I'm on a fishing boat right now and I'm casting, I'm trying to catch the big fish. And sometimes I get small fish, even though I use the same presentation. Sometimes I use the same presentation and literally come back with nothing. Like I've had a lot of bomb videos that do nothing, but I don't give up. I'm still casting. And every once in a while, I don't know if like the barometric pressure and the sun's hitting something in the perfect way, I just land the big one. It's just like, and I'm the more casts I make, the more opportunities for me to land the big one, but it's not going to happen every time.
This reminds me of something that happened, a story that happened when I still had a job, just like you back in the day. This was like 20 years ago or so. I had the wonderful opportunity to interview the CEO of our company. It was about 1,000 people worked in it. It was a manufacturing company. And he was like this big entrepreneur. This was back in New Zealand, very famous. He was like a celebrity. And I felt so lucky to be in his presence. And I remember asking him, what is the secret to the success? And he said, Gideon, I found that the harder I work, the luckier I get. And I've heard that in different forms many, many times, which is a really nice preamble for my next question, which is in, which episode was it? In episode 824 for Smart Passive Income podcast, you talked about quality versus quantity. And it almost seems like there's a bit of luck involved here, but the luck only comes with the quantity. Could you touch on that a little bit as well? Because you in that episode, it was really interesting how I think you started off saying that you wanted to go in with quality first, because that's maybe how you were preconditioned with your previous life, right? 'Cause don't put out, crappy things, create awesome things. But you switched over and said, let's do quantity. Like, tell us a bit more about how that happened. What made you sort of realize that, and how did you overcome that sense of trying to be too perfect or trying to get it too good, which could limit your progress? Because if we come back to that story of the CEO, the harder you work, the luckier you get. So how did you get to that realization?
It was simply a matter of living it. I mean, the Shorts channel is an example of that. And I've looked at a lot of other things in my life, and the quantity of podcast episodes, the quantity of blog posts from back in the day. It just seems like the more that I do, the more that I understand, right? Not just learn, right? It's one thing to just pick up information, but when you understand it such that you can then implement and readjust and pivot along the way, that's when I think speedrunning that achievement happens. And there's a big asterisk here with relation to quantity versus quantity, because I say that when you're just starting out, quantity is hugely important. And I say that with an asterisk, and that asterisk is, but don't sacrifice value, right? Quantity over quality, yes, in the beginning, so that you can get those reps in. Like I said, in the first 30 days, I cut my editing time from 45 minutes down to 50 minutes on the Shorts channel. That's huge. That's a massive improvement that allows me to now start to inject quality in there when I couldn't before, because I just didn't have the time. And so when you get those reps in, you get your wheels turning. You get the momentum. You get rid of the rust perhaps that's been there. You start to get a little bit more comfortable with putting yourself out there. And through those casts, if we want to go back to the fishing analogy, you'll start to pick up on things that work and things that don't. And imagine putting all your time. Let's go to the other extreme. Let's go and put all of your hard work and effort into one banger video. And for whatever reason, the algorithm doesn't pick it up. You put all this effort in and you realize that, oh, like maybe your thumbnail and title wasn't great, which is why even though it's a banger video, nobody clicked on it because the title and thumbnail is incorrect. With things that are so multifaceted like YouTube, which is title, thumbnail, hook, retention, close, rinse, repeat. If any one of those things, especially in the beginning of that sequence, is off, then everything else falls. However, imagine in the first 30 days, you have 5 or 6 chances to get better at thumbnails, to get better at titles. Maybe the banger video that you had at first, after you now have 6 or 7 reps in front of it and are understanding titles and thumbnails, you go back and change the title and thumbnail to that banger video. And now that video starts to actually finally perform well. You maybe see some videos that have high click-through rates, but then very low retention. You can look at your retention graphs and see where people drop off. Cool, let me make another video and do much better. And every time you get on the stage is an opportunity for you to increase your, to your improvement. It's an opportunity to improve, right? Like 1% better every time. But if you only have one time, you can't get better. And so that's why I'm in the camp now of quantity over quality without sacrificing value, because we still don't just want to put crap out there. I mean, I don't know about you, Gideon, but I've heard there are programs out there teaching people how to create 10,000 videos per day using AI. I don't believe many of that would be valuable. It's just adding noise and, it's just, I hate that kind of stuff. So don't sacrifice value.
Yeah. I really like how you've put that qualifier in there, because I don't think I've heard anybody say that when they talk about quality versus quantity. I think, Gary talks about that. Gary Vaynerchuk talks about that all the time. It's like, do quantity. But maybe he talks about it, maybe I've missed it, but I think just injecting the idea of quantity plus value. Don't cut the corners on the value. And I think that's a really beautiful thing. Awesome. You've been super generous with your time, Pat. Thank you so much. I learned a ton from this, and I've been leaning into learning about what you've been up to. So thank you for sharing that.
Thank you, Gideon. I appreciate you.
Thanks for tuning in. If you want to grow your influence with daily short form videos, Vubli makes it effortless. Post everywhere, be seen everywhere. Try it free at vubli.ai. I'll see you in the next episode.